If you're listening to this, you probably already think I'm the villain. Good. Makes my job easier. My name is Owen Callahan, and I fix things for a living. HVAC systems, mostly. Broken furnaces, busted air conditioners, the occasional gas leak that could blow up half a neighborhood if some idiot homeowner keeps lighting cigarettes near it. I'm good at what I do because I understand how systems work, and more importantly, how they break. Turns out, marriages work a lot like heating systems. They run fine for years, humming along in the background, keeping everything comfortable. Then one day, you notice the temperature's off. Maybe there's a strange smell. By the time you figure out what's wrong, the whole damn thing's ready to explode. My system started breaking down 3 months ago, though I didn't realize it at the time. Owen, I'm thinking about taking a girls' trip, Danny announced over dinner, not looking up from her phone. My wife of 8 years had this habit of delivering important news while scrolling through Instagram, like she was reading me someone else's status update. Yeah? Where to? I asked, cutting into my microwaved meatloaf. Danny used to cook. These days, she was too busy building her personal brand as a social media marketing consultant. Maybe Florida. Tara thinks we need some sun. She finally looked up, flashing that practiced smile she used in her LinkedIn photos. You know, self-discovery and all that. Tara, her office friend who'd never liked me, probably because I once asked her what exactly a brand strategist actually did besides post pictures of overpriced coffee. Tara had this way of looking at me like I was something she'd scraped off her designer heels. Sounds expensive, I said. We can afford it. Business is good. Danny's fingers were already back to tapping her screen. Besides, when's the last time we did anything fun? I could have pointed out that I'd suggested a weekend camping trip just last month, but she'd said she couldn't be offline that long. Instead, I just nodded and finished my dinner while she giggled at whatever was on her phone. That night, she left her iPad on the kitchen counter while she showered. The screen was still lit up, showing her messages. I wasn't trying to snoop. I was just moving it to plug in my phone charger when I saw the notification. Greg. Can't wait for our trip. Just the two of us finally. Greg. I knew that name. Greg Phelps, some wannabe entrepreneur who drove an orange Camaro and posted gym selfies with captions like, "Grinding for greatness." Danny had mentioned him a few times, a networking contact from some business mixer. My hands were surprisingly steady as I set the iPad back down exactly where I'd found it. 8 years of marriage, and this is how I find out. Not a tearful confession or getting caught in bed. A text message about a trip that was supposed to be with the girls. The next morning, Danny was extra cheerful, making actual coffee instead of her usual protein shake. I booked the Florida trip, she said, kissing my cheek. 2 weeks of sun and relaxation. Tara found this amazing resort. That's great, honey. I kept my voice level. When do you leave? Friday. I know it's short notice, but they had a cancellation. Friday was 3 days away. I nodded and smiled and played the supportive husband while inside, something cold and calculating was taking shape. You know that moment when your furnace finally gives up? There's this click, then silence, then the slow realization that something fundamental has changed. I called in sick to work and spent the day thinking. By evening, I had a plan. Ray Martinez, my work partner and best friend, lived in a converted warehouse with an extra bedroom he'd been trying to rent out for months. When I called him Thursday night, he answered on the first ring. Owen? What's wrong? You sound weird. Danny's cheating on me. Long pause. Shit, man. You sure? Positive. She's going to Florida tomorrow with the guy. Told me it was a girls' trip. Jesus, what are you gonna do? I'm going to burn it all down, I said. But first I need a place to stay. You still looking for a roommate? Ray was quiet for a moment. Then, yeah, brother. Come on over. Friday morning, I kissed Danny goodbye and watched her Uber pull away, her suitcase full of new bikinis I'd apparently paid for. She'd been extra affectionate all week, probably guilt. Or maybe she was just excited about her romantic getaway. I gave it an hour, then got to work. First, I packed everything that was mine: clothes, tools, the few family photos that mattered. Everything else could stay. Then I went to the bank and withdrew exactly half of our joint savings account. Legal and fair, my divorce lawyer would later confirm. The note I left on the kitchen counter was simple. I found myself too. Don't call. By noon, I was moved into Ray's place. By evening, Danny had left 14 voicemails and sent 37 increasingly frantic texts. I ignored them all and started phase 2. Greg lived in a trendy apartment complex downtown, the kind with a gym and a rooftop deck where young professionals pretended their lives were as exciting as their Instagram stories suggested. His orange Camaro was parked in the underground garage, spot 47, just like his address listed on the business card I'd found in Danny's purse months ago. Getting into the garage was easy. I just followed another resident through the security door, carrying my toolbox like I belonged there. Amazing how invisible a guy in work clothes becomes. The car was unlocked. Who steals a Camaro that color? I popped the hood and got to work. Nothing permanent or dangerous. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. But when Greg got back from his romantic vacation, he'd find his pride and joy making some interesting noises. I also left a few surprises in the air vents. Nothing that would cause damage, just some aromatic reminders of what happens when you mess with another man's wife. The apartment building had a helpful directory in the lobby. Greg Phelps, 4B. I took the elevator up, picked the simple lock on his door, thank you, Army training, and let myself in. The place screamed, "Trying too hard." Motivational posters, protein powder containers lined up like trophies, and a bathroom cabinet full of supplements that promised various kinds of enhancement. I carefully switched a few labels around. Let's see how confident Greg feels when his pre-workout becomes his sleep aid. I was almost done when I heard voices in the hallway. I slipped out through the fire exit and took the stairs down, my heart pounding but my hands steady. This was actually fun. Mrs. Kravitz from my old neighborhood was walking her ancient poodle when I got back to my truck. She'd always been nosy, but she'd also always liked me. "Owen! What are you doing here?" "Planning a surprise party for a friend," I said, loading my tools. "Don't spoil it, okay?" She winked conspiratorially and shuffled away. Sometimes the truth is the best lie. Danny and Greg returned from Florida on a Sunday. I know because Greg posted about it, a selfie of them at the airport with the caption, "All good things." The comments were full of fire emojis and power couple nonsense from people who had no idea they were celebrating adultery. Monday morning, Greg's problem started. His car wouldn't start, and when the tow truck driver popped the hood, the smell that emerged cleared half the parking garage. The apartment manager got complaints about a sewage odor coming from 4B. And Greg's Tuesday morning workout apparently didn't go as planned, based on the ambulance I heard about through Ray's girlfriend who worked at the hospital. "Food poisoning," she reported. "Guy came in convinced someone was trying to kill him. Kept talking about his supplements. I felt a little bad about that one. A little." Wednesday, I escalated. Danny's boss, Mr. Wexler, was the kind of middle-aged creep who hired young women for their social media expertise and found excuses to check their work after hours. But he was also paranoid about the company's reputation. The anonymous email I sent him included screenshots of Danny's social media posts from Florida, carefully cropped to hide Greg, but clearly showing her in romantic settings with someone who wasn't her husband. The subject line read, "Employee using company equipment for personal affairs." I also included a few photos of Greg's business cards scattered around what was obviously a hotel room. Let Wexler's imagination fill in the rest. By Thursday, Danny was suspended pending an investigation into misuse of company resources. Her panicked phone calls started again, but I was busy with my next project. The local Facebook community group was a goldmine of neighborhood gossip, and Tara was one of its most active contributors. She loved posting about relationship drama and women supporting women, usually with just enough detail to let everyone know she had insider information. I created a fake account, easy enough with a stock photo and some basic details, and started commenting on Tara's posts. Nothing obvious, just questions that got people thinking. Isn't Danny married? Who's the guy in her vacation photos? Wasn't that supposed to be a girls' trip? Social media is like a gas leak. One tiny spark, and the whole thing explodes. By Friday, the neighborhood group was buzzing with speculation. Someone had recognized Greg from his gym posts. Someone else had seen them together at a restaurant. The story spread like wildfire, complete with screenshots and theories. Danny's carefully curated online presence started crumbling. Comments on her business posts turned nasty. Clients began asking uncomfortable questions. Her self-discovery trip had become very public knowledge. That's when she decided to fight back. Saturday morning, I was having coffee with Ray when my phone rang. Unknown number. Owen, we need to talk. Danny's voice was shaky but determined. I don't think we do. Please, just meet me somewhere. Let me explain. Against Ray's advice, I agreed. We met at a coffee shop downtown, neutral territory. Danny looked terrible. No makeup, hair pulled back, wearing the kind of clothes she usually reserved for cleaning house. You're destroying my life, she said without preamble. I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped maintaining it. Don't play word games with me. I know what you're doing. I sipped my coffee and waited. Let her talk. Greg's business is falling apart. Someone vandalized his building. His car's been sabotaged. And now the whole neighborhood thinks I'm some kind of homewrecker. Aren't you? She flinched like I'd slapped her. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. We just connected, you know? He understands my ambitions, my dreams. What dreams? Posting gym selfies and selling protein powder? He's launching a wellness company. We were going to be partners. In business or in bed? Both. At least she was honest now. I was going to tell you. After the trip. I was going to ask for a divorce. So you decided to take a romantic vacation on my dime first? Danny's composure cracked. You never supported me. You never believed in my potential. I worked 60-hour weeks so you could chase your potential. I paid for your courses, your conferences, your networking events. I just didn't know I was funding your affair. It's not an affair if the marriage is already over. Was it over when you kissed me goodbye Friday morning? Was it over when you used our joint account to buy lingerie for your trip? She had no answer for that. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. You're going to file for divorce. No fault, 50-50 split of assets. You keep your car and your clothes. I keep my tools and my dignity. We're done. And if I don't? I smiled. Then I keep doing what I'm doing. And trust me, I'm just getting started. She left without another word. That night, Greg showed up at Ray's place. I was expecting him. Guys like Greg always escalate to confrontation eventually. Ray and I were working on his motorcycle in the garage when the orange Camaro pulled up, engine making unhealthy noises. Greg got out like he was starring in an action movie, all swagger and gym muscles. Owen, we need to talk. About what? I didn't stop working on the bike. About you screwing with my life. Your life was already screwed. I just helped people notice. He stepped closer, trying to intimidate me with his size. Greg was bigger than me, but I'd learned a few things in the army that they don't teach at the gym. You think you're smart? You think you can just destroy what Danny and I have? What you have is built on lies and stolen time. That's not a foundation, it's quicksand. She loves me. She loved the idea of you. Big difference. Greg swung at me then, a wide haymaker that telegraphed itself from across the garage. I sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, and used his own momentum to send him face first into Ray's workbench. He bounced off and landed hard on the concrete floor. Stay down, I advised. He didn't listen. Greg scrambled to his feet and charged again. This time, I caught him in a chokehold, applying just enough pressure to get his attention. "Listen carefully," I whispered in his ear. "I know where you live. I know where you work. I know about your little crypto side business and the money you owe some very unfriendly people. Keep pushing me, and I'll make sure they know where to find you." I let him go. He staggered backward, gasping. "This isn't over," he wheezed. "Yes, it is. You just don't know it yet." He left, but I knew he'd be back. Guys like Greg don't learn lessons. They just get angrier. The final confrontation came 2 days later, at the Wellness Expo where Greg and Danny were supposed to launch their new business partnership. I'd seen the Facebook event, complete with promotional photos of them looking successful and in love. Ray and I showed up as paying customers, just two blue-collar guys interested in improving our health. The expo was held in a hotel conference room, maybe 50 people milling around booths, selling everything from essential oils to meditation crystals. Greg and Danny's booth was near the back, decorated with banners promising life transformation through authentic living. The irony was thick enough to cut with a knife. I waited until they were in the middle of their presentation, talking about breaking free from limiting relationships and embracing your true self, before I made my move. "Excuse me," I said, raising my hand from the audience. "I have a question about authentic living." Danny's face went white when she saw me. Greg's jaw tightened, but he kept his fake smile in place. "Of course," Greg said. "What would you like to know?" "Well, my wife told me she was going on a girls' trip to Florida, but it turns out she was there with you." "Is that what you mean by authentic living?" The room went dead silent. Someone's phone was recording. There's always someone recording these days. "Sir, I think there's been a misunderstanding," Greg started. "No misunderstanding. That's my wife standing next to you. We're still married. Were you planning to mention that in your presentation about breaking free from limiting relationships?" Danny tried to salvage the situation. "Owen, please don't do this here." "Why not here? This is perfect. You're teaching people about authentic living while living a lie. Seems relevant." Greg stepped forward, his motivational speaker mask slipping. "You need to leave. Now." "Actually, I paid for a ticket. I'm a customer. Unless you're saying your business discriminates against married men." That's when Greg lost it completely. He lunged over the table at me, knocking over their display of branded water bottles and supplement samples. I stepped aside and let him crash into the folding chairs behind me. The room erupted. People were shouting, phones were recording, and hotel security was rushing over. Greg scrambled to his feet, covered in protein powder and looking like the fraud he was. "You destroyed everything," he screamed at me. "I didn't destroy anything," I said calmly, loud enough for everyone to hear. I just told the truth. Security escorted all three of us out, but the damage was done. Within hours, the videos were all over social media. Wellness gurus exposed as cheaters was trending on local Facebook groups. Danny's business collapsed overnight. Greg's crypto scheme unraveled when his investors saw the videos and started asking uncomfortable questions. The wellness company never launched, but I wasn't done yet. The final piece came together when I realized Greg had been using Danny's suspended company laptop to run his crypto operations. A few anonymous tips to the right authorities, and suddenly there were federal investigators asking questions about wire fraud and tax evasion. I never broke any laws. I never hurt anyone physically. I just made sure the truth came out and let natural consequences do the rest. Last week, Danny moved back in with her parents. Greg's facing charges and had to sell his car to pay legal fees. Tara got fired when her boss discovered she'd been leaking confidential client information to fuel her gossip habit. The divorce was finalized yesterday. No fault, 50-50 split, just like I'd offered. Danny signed without argument. She didn't have much choice. I'm keeping the house. Ray's moving in next month. We're going to convert the garage into a proper workshop and maybe start our own HVAC business. Sometimes people ask me if I feel bad about what happened, if I think I went too far. Here's the thing about broken systems. You can try to patch them, keep them limping along, pretend everything's fine. But eventually, the whole thing fails anyway, usually at the worst possible moment. I just controlled the timing. Danny wanted self-discovery and authentic living. She got it. Greg wanted to break free from limiting relationships. Mission accomplished. Tara wanted to be at the center of the drama. She got her wish. I gave them exactly what they asked for. As for me, I learned something important about systems. Sometimes the best repair is a complete replacement. And sometimes, when everything's burning down around you, the smartest thing to do is make sure you're holding the matches.